So I think the difficult thing for anyone who wants to found a business and do the whole thing from scratch is deciding whether to carry on or not. And sometimes you get to a point where you spend a lot of time, a lot of money, and time and money sometimes are directly linked together, but you're not getting any traction. And they talk about it as product market fit. And the question is always, do you carry on? Do you change direction or do you stop? And I normally talk about step up, step in, or step out as a sort of mantra. And the hard thing is you've got to try and be objective about it, not emotional about it, and not look at the sunk cost to say, well, I've spent X amount, so I must carry on. And that's the hard thing is to really be self-aware enough to, are you still on the right track? Sometimes you convince yourself that it's just there, it's just around the corner, and sometimes you're lying to yourself as well. So the hard thing is knowing when you know, whether you're actually being truthful or not. Well, this follows on from the previous one. So what's been good about this is I had taken when I came up with the whole, and I'm talking specifically on value here, I came up with the whole plan for value. There were certain things that were key to the strategy of it that through some advice from some other people, I didn't carry on with. And I'm realizing now over, the last 4 months, 5 months, that we should have been carrying on with it. We shouldn't have stopped those things because they were still important to the whole process. So the good thing is now that I've got that clarity, we'll start putting those things back in place. And in theory, we've maybe lost 5 months and hopefully we haven't lost too much from a timing point of view, but we should be able to recover and get back on track where I want us to be. The lesson is everyone can give you advice, but it's up to you whether you take it or not. I can extrapolate it further, but I mean, it's pretty simple as that. I mean, you get a lot of people who give you advice, and a lot of people will give you advice. So you've always got to remember when someone gives you advice about whether you should do something or not do something, it's always going to be from their perspective. Very few people can give you advice from your perspective because they're not you. So you got to look at that advice and you've got to realize where it's coming from. And sometimes that advice they can give you is going to come from their fear or their experience of not being successful. And that's a natural thing. Every human is predispositioned to avoid things together. It's a survival instinct. It's the same reason why you'd run away from a lion if you saw them in the bush. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you get advice from people, you've got to take it and take the objectivity and put it in and say, well, why are they giving me this advice? Is it because they're scared? Or is it because they don't want you to do it because it's competitive to them? Or whatever it is. I mean, there could be multiple. There's the 7 sort of sins kind of aligned to that, jealousy, dishonesty, etc. So when you look at that advice and you've got to basically compare it to all the other stuff you're doing, what you're thinking, and the rest of it, you have to rationalize it, objectively and take the emotions out of it. And the reason why I say take the emotions out of it is because if you include the emotions, then you might skew yourself because you're trying to compete with their point of view. So it's it's not an easy thing, but I think if you believe and you could see it with some level of, I don't want to say an empirical plan or an evidence plan, but at least some level of metric, I think a genuine case. If I look at value, we've been building the product now for a long time. What feels like decades, but it's not decades. It's probably about 12 months. We're now starting to see a good product come out of it. And whilst it's been painful to build it slowly, we're really getting more and more tuned to what the right thing is. And some of the advice that we were getting in the beginning wasn't very good advice. And I went against my better instincts, and that's what happened. We used some bad advice. But now that we're on the right track and we're getting traction, at least the conversations are happening, the advice I'm getting is less contradictory to what I'm trying to do with the product. So it's kind of working better that way. And I think when you're taking advice, you've got to feel, and this is the only time emotions come into it, you got to feel it out to see if it resonates with you. But then you got to bring it back to the objective view.